Hi there. Are you enjoying your stay at Toshi's place?
We've put together this sightseeing guide to help you make the most of your time in Kamakura.
Today, let's talk about new Enoshima Aquarium.
Welcome to this deep dive. Okay, so we're jumping into the source material you shared with us about a really special place near Kamakura, the new Enoshima Aquarium. Locals call it Inosui, apparently.
Yeah, Inosui. And what really jumps out from this material is it's not just an aquarium, is it? It sounds like they've designed it as like a whole sensory experience right there on Sagami Bay in Fujisawa City. It's all about getting you immersed, learning, maybe feeling a bit healed, and definitely entertained.
Right. So our mission here is basically to walk through the highlights from this material, pull out the useful tips so you staying at Toshi's place get a really solid idea of what Inosui's all about and, how to make the most of a visit. Let's dive in.
Okay.
So first up, that big first impression. The material makes a big deal about the Sagami Bay Big Tank. Right as you walk in, it sounds immense.
It really does. We're talking to what, about 20,000 fish? And they're all species, actually, from Sagami Bay, which is right outside the window, essentially.
That's the amazing part, isn't it? It's like a slice of the real bay right there.
Exactly. And the material points out this incredible sight, something like 8,000 sardines schooling together.
Yeah.
It says they create this almost like a shimmering curtain effect with the light.
Wow. Like living art.
Yeah, reflecting the actual ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it's not just visual either. The source mentions they used ambient sounds waves, currents, to make it feel even more like you're underwater.
Oh, that's clever. Really pulling you in. And there's something else mentioned, this Finn's diving show.
Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty unique. Divers actually get in the tank with all the fish and they give live commentary.
Live commentary from inside the tank.
Yeah, explaining the marine ecology, what the fish are doing, why the environment is set up that way. It sounds like a fantastic way to actually understand what you're looking at, not just passively observing.
Right. It turns looking into learning, doesn't it? That sounds like a really powerful start to the whole experience, grounding you right in the local sea life. Okay, so moving on to something maybe a bit more high energy, the Dolphin Show Stadium.
Ah, yes, the dolphins. And the setting sounds just spectacular according to the material. You've got Mount Fuji and Enoshima Island as the backdrop while you're watching the show.
That's incredible. What a view.
Definitely elevates it, right? And the material talks about their main program. It's called Wave, I Want to Be Your Wave. It seems they're trying to do something a bit different.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Less about, circus tricks and more focused on the dolphin's natural behavior.
Exactly. The source describes it as being more like watching playmates, the dolphins and the trainers, interacting naturally. And crucially, they explain why the dolphins do certain things and talk about the training process.
So it's got that educational angle, too.
For sure. Especially good for families, the material suggests. It's about understanding the animals and the bond they have with the trainers.
I like that. It adds depth beyond just entertainment. Oh, and a very practical tip from the source material here. If you sit near the front.
Uh-oh. Splash zone.
Yeah, basically, prepare to get potentially soaked in the first few rows. So choose your seat wisely.
Good heads up. Maybe bring a small towel. Or just enjoy the cool down on a hot day. Adds a bit of fun, I suppose.
Definitely. Okay, so from the energy of the dolphins, the material shifts to something totally different. The Jellyfish Fantasy Hall. This sounds, well, dreamy.
Yeah, dreamy is a good word. It describes this semi-dome space, just filled with drifting jellyfish, over 14 different species apparently, just gracefully moving around. Sounds incredibly calming.
Very tranquil. And they mention some specific tanks, like a spherical one.
Right, the jellyfish planet tank. Being spherical means you can see them from absolutely every angle, 360 degrees, which must be mesmerizing.
Totally. And there's more. Some kind of show.
Yes, the universe of jellyfish. It's a projection mapping show in the hall using light and sound. The material says it's really popular, creates this almost otherworldly, peaceful vibe. People love it. Sounds like a real highlight for just zoning out and appreciating the beauty.
Sounds like a perfect spot to just take a breath.
Okay, now, what about getting a bit more hands-on? The material mentions interactive stuff.
Yeah, that seems to be a big part of the experience, too. They have a touch pool, so you're not just looking through glass anymore.
You can actually touch things?
Some things, yes.
Yeah.
Like banded hound sharks, small ones, obviously. And you can see preserved specimens up close, too.
Yeah.
It's about making that connection more tangible.
That physical interaction must make a huge difference, especially for kids, right? Makes the learning stick.
Absolutely. It moves from abstract to real. And beyond the touch pool, the source lists some paid programs, which sound pretty special.
Okay, what kind of things?
Things like getting to touch a sea turtle, feeding fish, feeding capybara, yes, capybaras,
Yeah.
or even shaking hands with a dolphin. Wow, shaking hands with a dolphin. But these aren't available all the time.
No, the material's clear mostly weekends and holidays and limited spots. So the advice is definitely check the schedule online and book ahead. If you want to do one of those, they sell out.
Gotcha. And capybaras. So they have some land animals too, not just marine life.
Apparently so. Otters and capybaras are mentioned. Adds a little extra variety, I guess.
Fun. Okay, moving beyond the, let's say, more typical aquarium exhibits, the material points to some really unique things at Inosui, things tied to research and local culture.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fascinating, showing the aquarium's depth. Like the Shinkai 2000.
Shinkai 2000. What is that?
It's a real manned submersible, not a replica. It actually explored the deep seas, including Sagami Bay itself.
No way, a real submarine.
Yeah. The material says it's designated mechanical heritage and ship heritage. The exhibit was put together with JAMSTEC, that's the big Japanese marine science agency, and it focuses on the history and the science of deep-sea exploration.
Wow, so it connects directly to serious scientific research that happened right off the coast there. That's much more than just looking at fish tanks.
Exactly. It adds this whole layer of scientific context. And there's another exhibit, the material flags, as incredibly unique and local.
Oh, yeah.
Breeding shirasu. You know, shirasu.
Oh.
Those tiny little white-bait fish.
Oh, right. The ones you get on rice bowls everywhere around here. They're delicious.
That's them. A huge local specialty in Enoshima and Shonen. And Inoshui has a world-first exhibit showing their breeding process.
Breeding them, I imagine that's pretty tricky.
Extremely. The exhibit shows their whole life cycle, from spawning eggs to tiny juveniles. And the point the material makes is how this connects everything Elaine did. The local food culture, the fishing industry, and the marine science and conservation work happening at the aquarium.
Ah, I see. So it links what's in the tanks directly to the local life outside. That's really clever.
It really is. It grounds the science in something tangible and familiar for visitors. And there's also a free-to-enter section, the Megisa Experience Learning Center.
Free entry. What's in there?
It sounds quite interactive. Devices explaining how waves work, workshops. The theme mentioned is Know, Learn, Think, Act.
Know, learn, think, act. That definitely suggests they want you to engage more deeply, right? Think about the science, maybe conservation too.
Precisely. It seems focused on empowering visitors with knowledge and encouraging action, making it clear there's real educational substance throughout the aquarium, not just pretty sights.
Okay, well, all this exploring is going to make people hungry. Does the material cover food options?
It does. Several cafes and restaurants are mentioned, and they seem to lean into the theme, you know.
Themed food, like what?
Well, meals featuring the local shirasu, naturally, but also things like turtle-shaped melon bread.
Turtle-shaped melon bread. Okay, that sounds adorable and probably tasty too.
I bet.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, the usual sweets and soft serve, likely with some aquatic twist. And a really nice touch mentioned is that some cafes have outdoor terraces.
Oh, with views.
Yeah, sweeping views over Sagami Bay. So you can sit, have your snack, and look out at the actual ocean you've been learning about. Kind of brings it full circle.
That sounds perfect. Okay, practical stuff. Very important for planning a visit. The material covers facilities.
Definitely. Sounds very user-friendly, especially for families. They mentioned stroller rentals, nursing rooms, diaper-changing stations are available, plus free Wi-Fi and coin lockers, all the things that make a day out less stressful.
Those little things make a huge difference. And what about coming and going? Can you leave and come back?
Yes. Same-day re-entry is allowed. That's super handy, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're staying nearby at Toshi's place. You can pop out for lunch somewhere else, maybe walk on the beach, then head back in later. Adds flexibility.
Good to know. All right, tickets. How do you get them?
You can buy them right there at the entrance, of course. But the material also says you can get them in advance online sites like Esaview are mentioned, or even at convenience stores like 7-Eleven or Lawson.
Okay, buying ahead might save time. But there's a really important warning in the material about busy times.
Yes, a critical point. During peak periods, weekends, holidays, even just the middle of the day, they might require you to have a pre-purchased web reservation ticket.
Require it, so you might not get in otherwise.
Potentially, yes, or face long waits. The advice is absolutely check the official Inosui website before you go for the specific day you plan to visit to see if reservations are needed. You don't want to get turned away.
Definitely check ahead. Got it. And linked to crowds, the material has a strong recommendation about the best time to visit.
It does. Very strongly recommends going in the morning right when they open.
just after opening. Why is that?
It's simply less crowded then. The material suggests you'll have a much more relaxed visit, more space at the popular tanks like the big Sagami Bay one or the Jellyfish Hall. You can linger where you want without feeling rushed. So for the best experience, an early start seems key.
Perfect advice for guests planning their day trip from Tashi's place. Okay, getting there. How do you actually reach Enosui? Parking.
Right. The material is clear. There's no dedicated aquarium parking lot. You have to use the paid public lots nearby.
And I'm guessing those fill up.
Especially during holidays and summer, yes.
Yeah.
They can get very crowded, so the recommendation is actually to use the train.
Ah, the train. Which line?
The Inuden line or the Odakyu line are the main ones. The closest station is Katase Enoshima, and it's only like a 3-minute walk from there to the aquarium. Super convenient.
The Enidin. That's the scenic one, right? The material mentions taking that from near Toshi's place.
It does. And it frames the train ride itself as part of the fun. You get those lovely views of the Shonen Coast along the way, so the journey becomes part of the whole enjoyable experience, not just a commute.
That's a great way to think about it. One last thing from the material, an annual pass.
Yeah, they mention it. Apparently it pays for itself in just 2 visits. Plus you get perks like discounts in the shops and cafes, maybe a little something for your birthday, and deals at other local spots too. So if you think you might go back or you're exploring the area a lot, it could be worth looking into.
Good tip for frequent visitors or longer stays. So, wrapping this up, Inasui sounds like it really delivers, doesn't it? A mix of amazing sights, fun interactions, and real substance connecting back to the science and the local sea.
Yeah, it really does. The material paints a picture of a place that's both entertaining and enriching. It's about that blend of, healing, wonder, and learning. And those strong links to research groups and the focus on Sagami Bay itself make it feel quite authentic and grounded. It seems like a space designed to make you think a bit more about our connection to the ocean. So yeah, this deep dive into the Inosui material reveals a place with just a lot going on. You've got the visual wow factor of the big tank, the fun of the dolphins, the calm of the jellyfish, and then these really unique, thoughtful exhibits like the Shinkai 2000 and the Shirasu breeding. Plus, they've clearly thought about the practical side for visitors, too.
It really sounds like they put a lot of effort into making the marine world engaging and understandable for everyone. Connecting the fun stuff with real science and the local culture seems to be a key part of it.
Absolutely. And, thinking about those unique exhibits, the Shirasu, the submersible that actually explored that bay, it kind of makes you realize how much incredible science and hidden stories can exist even in places we think are familiar, like our own local coastlines. It raises an interesting question, doesn't it? Thinking about where you live, what local natural spot, maybe something you see all the time, might hold its own unexpected scientific secrets or deep cultural connections just waiting to be uncovered.
What did you think?
We hope you'll make even more wonderful memories at Toshi's place.